Hello everyone, it's Friday. We are getting ready for Shabbos, for Shemini Atzeret, and for Simchat Torah. We begin by thanking the sponsors for this video, Dvar Torah. We must first begin by triply thanking Joyce Kasowski, who is sponsoring the video Dvar Torah 3 times in honor of Jennifer and Dror Michelson, in honor and appreciation of Cheryl and Ellie Sanders, all people who deserve all of our appreciation and thanks, and also in honor of myself. And so I personally want to thank you, Joyce, and we thank you in general, the entire show, for your sponsorships. The video Dvar Torah is also sponsored by Devora and Jerry Baranovsky, who are sponsoring in memory of Devora's uncle, David Rosenzweig, David Zerach Ben Yitzchak Aryeh Zechron Levrach, whose first yahrzeit is on Simchat Torah. And we thank the Baranovskys and the Shemini for Devora's uncle. I want to begin this video Dvar Torah with a brief halachic discussion, somewhat technical, but will be a model for us to discuss some very important ideas and reflections on current events. The Gemara says, Shemini Atzeret, starting tonight, Shemini Atzeret regel b'fnei atzmo. Shemini Atzeret is its own holiday. It is not part of Sukkot. It is its own separate holiday, which simply happens to fall out immediately after the conclusion of Sukkot. Shemini regel b'fnei atzmo is its own holiday, le'inyan pazar kashav, regarding 6 halachos. Payas payas, the lottery that the Kohanim would do. They would do a new lottery on Shemini Atzeret, so it wouldn't follow the pattern of the first 7 days. Zayin is Zman Shechianu. We'll recite Shechianu tonight at candle lighting or a Kiddush, etc. And then there are 4 more halachic ramifications. But from the fact that the Gemara presents in this way, Shemini Atzeret, regel b'fnei atzmo, its own holiday, regarding these 6 matters, obviously implies, regarding other matters, it is not viewed as a separate holiday, but as a continuation of Sukkot, as part of Sukkot. The Torah calls it Ubayom HaShmini, the 8th day of Sukkot. So, for example, if an individual would visit Yerushalayim and he did not bring his own personal, individual carbon for the Yontif, he could still do that on Shemini Atzeret. After that's too late, it's not the holiday. But for that halacha, Shemini Atzeret is part of Sukkot. So which is it? Is Shemini Atzeret its own holiday? Or is it part of something larger, one of the 8 days of Sukkot? And the answer is that it's both. It cannot be defined simply in either category. And in some ways, some of its characteristics are that it is its own holiday, separate apart. And in some ways, it is part of something larger, one of 8 days. It is interesting that our sages saw Shemini Atzeret as the symbol, the day on the calendar, which was to represent and capture the uniqueness and chosenness of the Jewish people, and how we relate, how we are connected, if we are, to the other nations of the world. Are we, the Jewish people, totally apart, totally separate, disconnected from the other nations of the world in our history, in our laws and beliefs, in our ultimate destiny, and there's a chasm that divides us? It is the Jews and everyone else. Or are we one nation amongst a family of nations? Or are we part of a shared human experience? Are we a part of something larger? And the answer is that we are both. That it is not a binary choice, as halacha recognized about Shemini Atzeret, so too the Torah recognizes about the Jewish people. In some ways, we are apart, we are unique, and we have been chosen. But in some ways, we are part of something larger that we share with all of humanity. Our sages noticed that the sacrifices of Sukkot are totally different than any of the other holidays. And in particular, they noticed the bulls, the parim. On the 7 days of Sukkot, we offer many, many bulls, 70 bulls over the 7 days, in descending order from 13 to 7, many more than we would offer on any other holiday. And then on Shemini Atzeret, the pattern is broken, and we offer only one single bull, par echad. The sages understood it with the following parable. Mashal, Lamelech sha'asa suda shivas yamim. A king made a great celebration, a feast for 7 days. Vizimin kol b'nei hamadina b'shivas yamei mishnah, and invited all of the people of the land. Kevin Shavar Shivisime Mishta Amar Laova, when the 7 days had passed, he said to the one that he loved, Kfar Yatsanu, Yidei Chavosenu B'chol B'nei Amadina. We have, so to speak, fulfilled our obligation. We have provided a meal for the entire land, for everyone, for all people, all of my subjects. Negalgal Anivata. So let you and I find some quiet time alone. B'masha Timsa, with whatever you will find left over from the party, almost as if it was not planned. It will not be extravagant. It will be leftovers, but litra shel basar, o litra shel dag, o yerek, with a piece of meat or fish or just some vegetables. Kacha Kadosh Baruch Hu Amar Yisrael, so too God said to the Jewish people, Kol karbanos shekraftem, v'shivas yimei hachag al umos ha'olam. The bulls, the 70 bulls of Sukkot, are an offering for the 70 nations of the world, which are also part of God's plan. Aval b'yom ha'shmini, on the 8th day, negalgal anivatem. Let us, you and I, Hashem, the Jewish people, have some private, special time with whatever we will find, b'parachad, v'ayalachad, with just a bull or a ram, whatever it may be. On the one hand, we, the Jewish people, we have our own day, our own time with God. There is no one else present. It is special for us. We have been chosen. We have been invited. We have been given the Torah like no one else. And we are to feel this. This is all true. We are to feel this. We are to teach it to our children. We should be proud that we are Jewish. We should feel that we have such a blessing. We have the Torah. We have the mitzvos. And that differentiates us from the other nations of the world. But at the same time, we also celebrate Sukkot. Sukkot for 7 days is a celebration, so to speak, for the 70 nations of the world. And the way our sages imagine it, Hashem the King has this great feast, this great banquet, this great dining table, and around it there are 70 seats for the 70 nations, including the Jewish people. And in that moment, we sit at the same level as any other people. We are no different. We are not treated differently. We are one of 70. We are one of the great family of nations. And it's difficult because both of these are true. We must hold on to both truths. We are different. We are special. We have been chosen. We have the Torah that no one else has. And we are human. We share that with all nations, with our neighbors, with other countries. We share human experiences. We can learn from them. They can learn from us. And both are true. And there is not a binary choice. Are we part or are we different? Just like Shemini Atzeret has characteristics of both, it is its own holiday and also part of Sukkot. We, to the Jewish people, we are separate with our own destiny, and we are also part of humanity. Different people will find different ways of how to put these pieces together based on their own neshamas, their own souls. And there will be times that we will accentuate one aspect and times we will accentuate the others. And there will be communities that will develop organically different community senses of how to mesh these two ideas together in a Torah true way, because there's more than one way to do it. And it will depend historically, obviously, in times of persecution versus times of acceptance. These ideas are expressed differently. It's different if you're in the land of Israel or in the diaspora. But both are true, and we must hold on to both. I'd like to point out that in the mashal of our sages, the special meal between ourselves and Hashem that is unique to the Jewish people, it is private. It is not announced. The other nations don't know about it. It is understated. It is not extravagant. It is not loud. It is not ostentatious. And that is how we should feel our sense of chosenness. It is so deep. It is so profound, but it is intimate. And it is modest. And it's not because we are embarrassed by it. It's not merely because we are worried that people will be offended by it. It is because it must be so. First of all, it is an intimate, private, deep feeling, but also our sages understood that feeling the sense of chosenness, as true as it is dangerous, because it can come to negate a sense of commonality with other humans. It can lead to a sense of condescension and entitlement. And so it must be kept in its proper place, which generally means will be in a way that it is modest and private, so that we still can feel an affinity and commonality to be able to celebrate in the celebration of Sukkot with the 70 nations of the world. The time of coronavirus in some ways should be a time when we accentuate our commonality with all people, our sense of shared humanity. We are facing an enemy, which is an enemy of all humanity, which makes no distinction between color, creed, or race. We are, so to speak, all of us in this together. Our actions affect others. The actions of others affect ourselves. Everyone looks at one another with a sense of shared responsibility, and we should feel a sense of shared responsibility. Unfortunately, the coronavirus numbers across the United States are going up, the Jewish community included, and again, we pause to remind everyone now to follow all social distancing guidelines, to wear masks, to follow all the specific protocols of Israel of Brookline, and wherever you may be, to be responsible and to stay safe and healthy for yourselves and for all of us. We've been reading of increased numbers, and in particular hotspots in New York, which in most cases coincide with Jewish communities. Not something to be proud of. We have read about and watched the videos of the protests this week, which have been incredibly upsetting, which have included in some cases violence, which have included in some cases really disgusting language, which seem to show a contempt for general society and its authorities. And besides for the health risk in any such gatherings, we also are incredibly pained. And you just need to read the comments on the videos or the Twitter accounts to see the Chilul Hashem that has occurred. And I do not mean to simplify things. There are many issues here, and there are different people involved. But I do wonder if, unfortunately, some of the actions that we saw are rooted in what inherently are good feelings, correct Torah ideas, i.e. a sense that we are the chosen people, that we are different, incredibly strong Jewish pride. And all those ideas, again, are true. But when they're not balanced with an appropriate affinity, commonality, respect for the other nations of the world, for the knowledge of the nations of the world, for general knowledge and general society and all other people, then these Torah principles become distorted, and difference becomes indifference, pride becomes arrogance, chosenness becomes entitlement. We know better, the rules don't apply to us. It's supposed to be that we share, we celebrate, we identify. We feel that we are part of, we are mutually responsible, and we will mutually celebrate on Sukkot with all of humanity, all the nations of the world. And our feelings of chosenness, of specialness, of Jewish pride are expressed intimately, privately, modestly with Hashem. We find no pleasure in expressing criticism, pain, disagreement with individuals, with groups. And we do so out of love, because being part of the chosen people means we are connected, we are bonded by love with all Jews. We love all Jews, we try our best to. all Jews to the right and to the left, politically, religiously, right, left, up, down. And so it pains us when they do things that upset us so greatly. As we said, the time of the coronavirus and the 7 days of Sukkot is meant to be a time that accentuates our shared humanity, our mutual responsibility, that we can celebrate with all the nations of the world, that we can relate to them, learn from them, give to them, receive from them. But Shemini, Atzeret, and Simchat Torah is the time to celebrate, to rejoice in that we are chosen, in that we are different, in that we have been given the Torah. Simchat Torah has not been canceled this year. Memo to everyone. Simchat Torah is going on. If you're coming to Shul, it will be joyous here. Come with a smile on your face. It will be different, certainly. But there will be a sense of joy. If you cannot make it to Shul, read the end of the Torah, read the beginning of the Torah. Try to celebrate Simchat Torah at home. Try to recite in the Shemona Esrei with extra feeling. Ata v'chartanu, extra gratitude. Ahavto san v'ratzisa banu Hashem, you have chosen us, you have loved us, you have found favor in us. These are the themes of every Yom Tov, but especially the themes of Shemini, Atzeret, and Simchat Torah, as our sages have taught us. And with that, I wish everyone a good Shabbos, a Chag Sameach, a good Yom Tov, and I hope everyone will have a wonderful next couple of days.